The Skydiving Ghost Part 3. The Obsidian Heart, a Sister's Betrayal. I followed the trail of rusted ID tags and broken stone like a hound catching a scent. The air grew thick with the smell of scorched ozone and ancient, wet earth as I drifted toward the peak of high tide, a mountain that shouldn't have been there, thrust upward from the plains by some titanic litho effort. The entrance to the mountain was a jagged maw, guarded not by simple stone men, but by ironclads whose skin was polished to a mirror finish. I didn't fight them. I simply let my body go soft, turning into a whisper of wind and sliding through the cracks in the rock. Inside, the mountain was hollowed out, a massive cathedral of industry. But it wasn't the lithos running the show. At the center of the cavern stood a platform pulsing with a rhythmic, violet light. And there she was, Elena. But she wasn't the nurse I remembered. She didn't have the tired eyes or the gentle hands that used to bandage my scrapes. She stood 6 feet tall, her skin a mosaic of translucent quartz and obsidian. Beneath the surface of her stone flesh, I could see blue veins of pure electricity coursing like a river. She was a hybrid, something the laws of the flare said shouldn't exist. She was the immovable strength of the litho combined with the infinite spark of the conduit. I solidified in front of her, my feet hitting the cold stone floor for the first time in months. My voice felt like sandpaper. Elena? She turned, and for a second, the violet light in her eyes flickered. Jax. We spent hours in the quiet of her inner sanctum, catching up on a world that had died. She told me how she had been at the hospital when the light hit, how she had reached for a defibrillator and the floor at the same moment. The flare didn't choose a side for her, it made her the bridge. She told me she had gathered the others, the mixed bloods, to create a sanctuary where they wouldn't be enslaved by the ironclads or hunted by the incendiaries. I'm building a new world, Jax, she whispered, her hand, warm as a battery and hard as marble, touching my face. A world where no one has to fall. I felt a weight lift off my chest that I didn't know I was carrying. I thought I had found the hero the world needed. I thought the search was over. But as the night cycle began and the bioluminescent moss dimmed, I wandered into the lower levels of the cathedral. I expected to see a sanctuary. Instead, I found a nightmare. In the shadows of the deep mines, hundreds of pure lithos and conduits were chained to the walls. They weren't being protected, they were being drained. Elena wasn't bridging the gap between the elements, she was consuming them. I saw a root keeper, his bark skin withered and gray, his life force being sucked into a metallic cable that led straight back up to Elena's platform. I felt a coldness that had nothing to do with the mountain air. I drifted back up to her throne, my body trembling with a different kind of friction. Elena, what is this? I hissed, pointing to the floor. The people downstairs, they're dying. She didn't look up from the holographic map of the continent she was studying. Her eyes didn't flicker this time. They glowed with a steady, terrifying violet heat. Not dying, Jax. Contributing, she said, her voice sounding like a choir of falling glass. The flare didn't just break the world. It revealed that the weak are simply unprocessed resources. I used to save lives one by one in that hospital and it changed nothing. Now, I'm going to save the planet. And if I have to burn every pure soul to power the engine that fixes the sky, I'll do it. She finally looked at me and the sister I knew was gone. There was only the goddess of the mountain. You're an aerial, Jax. You're the perfect conductor for the final phase. Don't look so horrified. She smiled and sparks danced between her teeth. I've already cleared a spot for you at the top of the spire. The world ended once with a solar flare. It looked like it was about to end again with my sister.